Ever hear a bebop line by one of the greats and think, okay, that's amazing, but how do I actually learn what's happening there and use it in my own playing? Well, you're in the right place because in this lesson, we're going to reverse engineer bebop vocabulary directly from none other than Charlie Parker. And we're not doing it by memorizing 1,000 licks. We're doing it by extracting the framework underneath the line so you can reconstruct it, reshape it, and generate your own variations that still sound like real bebop. And through this process, you'll acquire a better understanding of what I like to call the grammar of bebop. So step one is to strip away the ornaments until the framework of the line becomes obvious. Think of it like a room. Furnish it one way and it's a bedroom. Furnish it another way and it's an office. But underneath it, it's still the same room. Same walls, same windows, same shape. Well, bebop lines work the same way. And when we undress a phrase, we uncover the framework. And that tells us what has to be put back in to make it sound like bebop and not rock, not country, not salsa. So let me tell you about the concept that makes this procedure practical. In bebop, players often think in terms of targets and approaches. So instead of seeing one long blur of notes, we break the phrase down into small cells, usually 2 to 3 notes that end on a target tone. We identify them as approach note events. In them, the target is a chord tone or upper extension, and the notes that resolve to it are the approach notes. And they can be diatonic or chromatic, but their job is simple. They resolve by stepwise motion to the target. So next, we are going to take a Charlie Parker phrase from Anthropology, identify the targets, extract the framework, and then rebuild it into variations you can plug into your playing immediately. All right, let's hear the phrase and then we'll start reverse engineering it. Okay, so before we make any changes, let's examine the notation. At the very top, you can see the chord progression the line is played over. Right above it in Roman numerals is a harmonic analysis of the function of each chord within the tonality. We are in the key of B flat, even though there is no key signature. And this is done with many bebop solo transcriptions to simplify the reading when there are way too many accidentals. The arrows below the chords depict the approach notes resolving into targets, which are the circled scale degrees. These are the framework notes that hold the phrase together. You are probably already familiar with different approach note types, such as passing tones, neighboring tones, and enclosures. But in case you aren't, I will also include a more in-depth explanation of each approach type in the download for this lesson, which I will tell you about later. I will also describe their function briefly as we cover them. That said, in this line we can see some abbreviations above each approach note. The initial 8 are categorized as unprepared approaches. These are diatonic or chromatic notes that are preceded by a rest or a leap of a third or more, as you can see by its distance from the previous note. Next we have a neighboring tone. These are notes approached by step from a chord tone, which then resolve back in the same manner to the original note. And the final approach is a 2-note enclosure. It consists of 2 notes situated a whole or half step away from both sides of the target. Notice that both notes have arrows resolving to the target, one from below and one from above. So the key takeaway here is, if you can learn to identify and hear those framework targets, you'll stop blindly memorizing licks and instead start learning how the lick is built. So the first move is to strip away the ornaments and keep only the targets. And here you can see the extracted framework. All the rhythms and approach tones have been removed. Listen to how the raw foundation sounds. Now we are going to reconstruct it 6 different ways by changing what's flexible while keeping track of what's structural. Towards the end of this lesson, you'll get to hear how they sound back to back so you can better appreciate their evolution. In this first variation, we keep the same framework targets but change the approach notes. This is the most direct vocabulary builder. Same destinations, new routes. For the most part, we still have unprepared approaches in the same place as in the original. Only that if in the original they resolved from above, here they resolve from below, and vice versa. The same holds true for the neighboring tone and the 2-note enclosure. They are now resolving from the opposite direction than that of the original. Listen. Next, we flip it. We keep the approach behavior as in the original, but we change the targets diatonically so the framework shifts. And here I must mention that when doing this, we might run into some problems in terms of the range. The solution is to use octave displacement like I did here, starting with the C sharp in the 3rd measure. If I would have transposed it down as in the original's contour, it would be in a range much too low to play. Listen to how natural it sounds with the octave displacement. Now we keep the targets again, but we change 2 things: the approach notes and the rhythm. Rhythm is a huge part of what drives a line, so this starts sounding like a brand new one. Listen. Up to now, we've been changing the line while staying in the same basic harmonic environment. That is a major tonality. Now we change the color using modal interchange, borrowing from the parallel natural minor mode. Listen to how the color shifts, but the approach to target logic still holds it together. Same minor modal interchange color, but now we change the rhythm too. Listen to how it no longer sounds like just a variation, but as new vocabulary, yet it retains that bebop feel. For this variation, we have modal interchange to minor, plus we are diatonically changing the targets. So now even the framework moves, but it's still guided by the same approach to target engine. It's a totally new line. Listen. So, that's the whole method in one sequence. Identify the targets, extract the framework, and reconstruct variations by swapping the approaches, rhythm, and even transposing the contour of the original framework. Bottom line, If you can learn to hear and understand the function of the approaches versus the targets, you can build endless bebop style lines of your own. Next, I want to play the original Charlie Parker line in all 6 variations back to back. But before I do, if you want to go deeper with this method, I want to tell you about the special study package I've put together for this lesson. You can download it for a nominal contribution, and it features a 35-page PDF booklet with detailed explanation of all the theory behind what we just did, including a section on how to identify every type of approach note. Also, 10 Charlie Parker phrases, each analyzed with 6 reconstructions in standard notation and tab, MP3s of everything, and a band-in-a-box file with all the variations so you can practice. So if you want the full package, grab it using the link below. As usual, I appreciate your likes and comments as well as welcome your questions. And if this is your first time on this channel and you enjoyed this lesson, please be sure to subscribe. I look forward to another info-filled lesson real soon. Until then, you know the drill. Practice, 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 rinse and repeat. May peace be with you.